Identity is the governor on every single area of your life. It literally sets the temperature for all of the conditions of your life. Shakespeare has this incredible quote that says, "We know what we are, but not what we may be." And the who you may be is going to be dictated by your ability to alter your identity, because you are going to always be consistent with what you believe you're worth and what you believe you deserve, or what is your identity. Your identity, the best analogy I could give you, is like a thermostat sitting on the wall of your life. It sets the entire temperature for the conditions of your life in multiple areas. And so most people think their life is dictated by external circumstances. They spend their entire life trying to control what is outside of them. You've all heard the great saying that people in 12-step programs talk about learning to control the things they can and letting go of the things that they can't control. And the fact of the matter is, you cannot always control the external factors that are impacting you in your life. The good news is, it's the external things in your life that do not dictate the direction or the ultimate destination of your life. That is a fallacy. Listen to me when I tell you this. External circumstances do not dictate the ultimate destination of your life. It's an internal game. You and your faith, your God, are what will control the direction of your life, not the external things that are impacting you all the time. And this identity is that internal thermostat. It sets the temperature, just like a thermostat sitting on the wall, of the conditions of your entire life. Let me give you an example of how the thermostat of our lives works. The best analogy I could give you is exactly how one works in the room I'm sitting in. It sets the temperature of the room. And so the external conditions don't impact the internal temperature of this room, because that thermostat regulates the condition of the room. So if we open the door and the windows in this room and cold air blew in here, the thermostat would kick on, wouldn't it, and heat the room back up to 75 degrees. So no matter what hit it, it regulates the temperature of the room. The reverse is also true. If a bunch of hot air blew in the room, if we open the doors and the windows, the thermostat would cool the room back down and regulate it to 75 degrees. Guess what? That's exactly how your life works. Once you accept this truth, it is a fact that it's not the external things that are happening, it's the internal thermostat. Too often in life, people don't work on changing their identity. They're always working on producing external results. Have you ever known somebody who was wealthy and no longer is? Have you ever known somebody who made a bunch of money and no longer does? How about somebody who was in a great relationship and that relationship no longer exists? How about someone who got in great shape that is no longer in that shape again? If your results begin to exceed your internal thermostat, you will find a way to cool your life back down to what you believe you're worth and you're comfortable at your identity. You'll think it's coincidental. Oh, this accident happened, or this appointment canceled, or this circumstance took place. It's not coincidence. All of those things have happened because you set the thermostat of your life and you've regulated what you're going to get. Isn't that incredible? That you can learn all the talents, the behaviors, the skills, the tactics, all the strategies that I teach you. But if you don't alter that thermostat internally, you could have all of the skills of a 100-degree producer and you will live a 75-degree existence, because you will turn the air conditioner of your life on back down to cool it where you're comfortable. It's also true, by the way, you've seen this in your own life. Maybe you've had something really good going in business before. You've got momentum. It seems like things are happening great. And then you wake up 4, 5, 6 months later and you've cooled your life, your business, right back down to where it was before. Maybe you'd saved some money at one time and then coincidentally your car broke down, or a bill happened, or there was a run of birthday parties, and all of a sudden that bank account's back to where it always was. It's not coincidental. You've cooled the conditions back down again. And so you've seen this happen. Maybe you got in great shape at one point, but your identity wasn't that fit a person, and you've cooled it back down to about what you're comfortable being. This is true in your faith and your relationships. By the way, you have multiple thermostat settings. You have one in your faith, you have one in your fitness, one in your money, one in your happiness, right? One in your business life. So there's multiple identities we have. The reverse is also true. There's been times in your life where the circumstances, the conditions were terrible. You thought you'd never get out of it. You're never going to eat again. Well, guess what? You ate again, didn't you? And you heated your life back up to that same place again. So you've proven this over and over in your life, haven't you? So have I, so has every single human being. The governor on our life, the regulator of our life, is our identity, which is the internal thermostat that sets the temperature for our life. So the key in life is to learn all the thoughts, the skills, the tactics, and the strategies that can heat our life up in the areas that matter most to us. But if we don't simultaneously change the conditions of our thermostat, change what we're comfortable living at, change our identity, our worth, change the thoughts, beliefs, concepts, and value we hold to ourselves, We will cool or heat our life back to that regulated temperature. And so I'm telling you, the overall key to changing the external conditions of your life is changing that internal thermostat setting. So that's what we're going to talk about, some strategies on today. Just being aware that you need to alter the thermostat is a life-changing, liberating condition. I cover this in very specific detail in hashtag Max Out Your Life, my book. It's a quick read, 100 pages. I wrote it so that every page has strategies on it, no fluff. If you want the book, go to maxoutbook.com. If you put in the code MAXOUT, I'll buy the book for you. So I cover this in detail there, but I want to cover it in detail right now with you as well. What you need to be doing is becoming aware of how important it is that you adjust this thermostat setting as you produce better results, as you start to learn new skills and strategies and tactics. See, you can move from an average business into an extraordinary business with incredible opportunity, but you will produce the same results you're getting in the average business if you don't change that thermostat setting up to 95 or 100 or 120 degrees of what you believe you're worth, the thoughts, concepts, and beliefs you hold true to be about yourself. So, it is the regulator on our lives, and it's the main thing I work on with my private coaching, with some of the elite performers I work with in business and athletics, in entertainment and politics, is me working with them on changing that internal thermostat where we can heat it higher and higher and higher so that they can produce the results and the conditions of their life, stay and exceed those levels all the time. In fact, in my own life, I'm always working on my self-confidence. I'm working on my tactics and strategies, my ability to influence, right? My thoughts, all of those different things. But the thing I'm most obsessed about that I know is going to get me to the ultimate version of me is constantly elevating the temperature in the areas that matter to me, adjusting that thermostat setting higher and higher and higher and higher so that I can get those conditions to match it, because it always will. You will always get your thermostat setting, always in your life. So, can I give you any insights as to how to change that thermostat setting? I can. Let me give you a couple. The most powerful way and the easiest way to change your thermostat setting is by adding people to your circle, very close proximity, that live at a higher temperature in that area than you do. For example, in your faith, let's just say, you're a 75 degreer in your faith. You've already seen this. You can't possibly begin to regularly associate with good, godly people who pray regularly, who try to live righteously, and they're at 110, 120 degrees of faith in their life, and not have that proximity heat you up. Now, you won't get to where they are. You'll get to somewhere between where you are at 75 degrees and they are at 110. Over time, you become 100 degreer, and you alter the thermostat setting through association. Same in business. If you and I were to hang around each other every single day, and let's say you were a 75 degreer in business, hypothetically, and I don't know that about you, but let's just say you were, and I was 150 degreer, and we hung around each other all the time. Don't you think through that association, especially if you had 2 or 3 or 4 people like me in your life, that just over time, you don't even feel it. You're at 80, you're at 85, you're at 90, you're at 95, and that's where you are. We understand the power of this with our children, because we know at school the teachers have influence over them, they're mentors, but the people that really have influence over our children are their friends, because they're around them all the time. And so we know it sets their temperature. This is true in fitness. If you're a 75 degree of fitness, and every meal, every day at the gym, all your associations, hypothetically speaking, were with someone who was shredded and fit the way you wanted to look at 150 degrees, you know over time you get heated up. And so you can't be with someone every day, you can't be with them all the time, but the key is to get more proximity in the areas that matter with people whose thermostat setting is higher than yours. I am a product. You are listening to me right now because I've been so obsessed with this concept of adding new associations to my life that live in the areas that I want to improve in at higher temperatures than me. It's my obsession to this day.
I was very ashamed of my life story for a long time. I didn't want to go out and tell anybody shit about me. So that's why I had 2 people. I created one David Goggins and one Goggins. Right. And I didn't want people to know that I had all these issues. But after a while, people start to give you these different taglines. Like, you're superhuman, you're amazing. I'm like, they don't know anything about me, man. I'm this insecure kid. I started realizing there's a lot of people out here who are going through a lot of problems that I once tapped into. I had a whole bunch of issues growing up. And, I felt compelled to this, you gotta start sharing this stuff, man, because people see where you're at today. They see where you're at today. They see the man you are today, this hard, rock hard human being. Show these people where you come from. Right. Show these people it's possible. Like, I see where I'm at today. but I know where I come from. And it's kind of hard to almost separate that. I'm almost, not in a way I'm kissing my own ass, but I'm amazed at what a human being can actually do. So when I start talking to myself in the third person, it's strictly because I know that I literally made this human being out of just like a whole bunch of scraps. And I wasn't, I wasn't a mechanic. I wasn't a carpenter. So I didn't know how to do any of this shit. I wasn't trained in how to build a human being from nothing. Like my mom didn't train me. My dad didn't train me. Life didn't train me. Well, life did train me.
Yeah.
Life did train me, correction. And I started putting this scrap metal together. I'm like, I wonder what the first year I tried to do is off. And after a while, I started learning more and more and more through pain and suffering. I started learning so much about stuff. Before I knew it, man, I built this beautiful car. I'm like, how the that? And I knew how, and I know how to do it because I have all the tools. Through all the failure I went through trying to build this person who's Goggins. The one thing that made me who I am today is being vulnerable. It's breaking myself down to the absolute rock bottom and being able to tell people who I am. And that's how I fixed it. Literally, being able to look somebody in the eye and say, you know what, man, I have a whole bunch of character problems, character flaws. I've lied about this. I've cheated here. I'm insecure here. This isn't the real me. I lied to you about that. I wanted your acceptance in life. All those things happen, but the thing about it is that we get judged so quickly by who we are. We don't know. We don't go to where it happened. Life created this person, me. Life created me to be this person that I was back in the day. And I had to realize, man, that's okay, man. It's not my fault. Now I gotta go back and fix this shit though. So a lot of this isn't your fault, why you do some things you do, why you feel the way you feel. But no one's coming back to save your ass. You have to go back to where the shit started, wherever that place is for everybody, and have the courage to go back there and start fixing what broke you. And what's funny about it is that as you're trying to fix yourself and dig yourself out of this deep hole that life, society, and you helped also, those people who you saw down there in that hole who were there with you, who were your friends and people who you counted on, because you meet the people in the same situation that you're in life. Those people become your friends. And the second you try to get out of that situation and become better, those people are in that grave, in that dungeon, just yanking at your heels, man, saying, oh no, come on back, fucker.
Yeah.
You ain't gonna make me feel like shit by you getting out of this hole.
Who I think you are.
So I get that all the time now. People would constantly remind me of who I used to be back in the day. And they always come out of the woodworks, man. You know what? When you come from a small town, and you come from a place that a lot of people don't want to come out of it and get out of it, and all you want to do is become somebody, when you have small town mentality is a real mentality. You've got to be able to get out and let your mind see open-mindedness. Because a small town, what it does to you is it closes your mind. Completely closes your mind. Not everybody. This isn't everybody. A lot of people. You have to be able to go out there and create open-mindedness. You need space. You need space to see the world. Like a lot of racism, a lot of ignorance in the world, it comes from people not being out and seeing other things, seeing other people, seeing all kind of shit. That's why we judge so harshly, because our minds are so closed to the reality of life. I went back to Brazil a couple times, and I have nothing wrong with Brazil. Because once again, another thing about growth is you can't hold on to hate. You can't hold on to hate. And see, once you take a different step, so I had to take a step out of my life, because once you're in that hell, that's all you see is what's in front of you. When I stepped out of it, I saw Brazil very differently. There were a lot of great people in Brazil. Some of the best people I knew were from Brazil. But when you're in hell, all you see is a little patch in front of you of the kids that are calling, or the people that spray paint to kill you on your car. People put that shit in your locker. People put that shit on your notebook in Spanish class. That's all you see. You didn't see that. My God, a lot of people like me here. So once you take a step back and see the reality of the true ignorance that you're dealing with from a small group of people, that's when you get growth. Because I went through a phase in the book I talked about, man, I was all about black and only black when I was a junior in high school, because I was so beat down. I was the most ignorant I've ever been in fucking life when I went there. I totally took everything, all the hurt, all the pain, and just put it in one filter. I gotta find people who look just like me and act just like me to find acceptance. I was a fat guy trying to be a Navy SEAL now, and my life had come to this crossroads where I'm like, man, you have to go right. And no one was going right. Everybody was going left. I'm like, you have to go right. And to know the pain and suffering I was about to endure by going right, the amount of accountability and failure I was going to witness and suffer by myself alone on this journey, it was daunting. So when I finally got to the ASVAB test, and I was taking it for my very last time to get into the SEAL teams or to even try out, they weren't supposed to tell me my score. And I went back out to my car after I took it. I was on some computer test, and I didn't know how to use computer. I was wigging out about that shit because the first time I took it was like some notebook, you open a Scantron sheet and you bubble it in with a number 2 pencil and shit, you turn it in. I saw a computer and I was like, oh, oh my God. I'm like, it's on a computer, so I wigged out there and I had to get a 50 on mechanical comprehension. This is my second time. So I took it 3 times for the Air Force and twice for the Navy. So this is my second time for the Navy. And they're like, hey, this is it, man. You're done. You're too old. You have a limited amount of time to lose 106 pounds, and you have to take this ASVAB again. There's so many things that's crunched down my head. And so when I took the test, I knew I had a good enough score to get in the Navy, but to be a SEAL, I had to score high on mechanical comprehension, a 50. So the first time I got a 44 on mechanical comprehension. So I'm sitting there and I take the test and I hit send. Send meant it's out in outer space somewhere. But I knew it popped up at the administrator's desk. And he's not supposed to tell me shit. He tells you sit down, take your test, and you leave. I walked out, got in my car, or I was walking around the car, whatever. And I was like, I gotta go in and find out, man.
I want to get into something, and it's something I think is important. A lot of people, when they think of America and they think of what's important in America, they only think of themselves. They think of building a career. They think of making money. They think of becoming a successful entrepreneur, a successful businessman, having a nice house, having a nice car, raising a good family. Those are the things that matter to most people, okay? Being free to do what it is you want to do. And it doesn't matter what religion you are, what race you are, what country you come from. This country is made for everybody to have a chance to be better, okay? And when most people think of that, they think when they're born here or that they come here, that it's about them. It's about going out, executing, and winning. And that's true. It is about you. It is about your journey. It is about building something great for you. But something that's rarely talked about, something that is rarely considered, is something that I literally think about every day. And I think that if you would think about it like I think about it, I think it would help you stay motivated. I think it would help you stay more disciplined. I think it would help you stay sharp. Okay? Those of you who follow me, you know that almost every day I post this big giant American flag that's in my gym. All right? And that flag is actually as big as our first retail store that we opened back in 1999. Now, when I look at that flag, I'm not posting that flag for the people who've been elected in office. I'm not posting that flag for the media who seems to hate our country and hate us. I'm posting that flag for the idea of what this country could be, and the idea of what this country should be, and the idea of what we should be doing to help enrich that soil that makes up this country. Okay, I look at it different. I don't see my success and my drive and my businesses and all of these things. I don't see that as a selfish quest. I don't see that as, oh, Andy wants to make this much dollars. That's not how I look at it, dude. Here's how I look at it. I look at it like this. I look at it like this country was made for us to go out and build amazing things. This country was made for us to take care of our communities when we build those amazing things. This country requires people to go out and produce and create so that our economy can flourish and grow and people can have careers. They can buy houses. They can have families, okay? That's the purpose of growing a company here in America. All right. Now, when we think of, us going out and you think of like achieving your goals and all these things you want to do, it's real easy to get caught up into what you're going to get. Okay. But what I want you to think about is, what is your obligation to this country? What are you paying back into the system? Right? Because entrepreneurs and successful people have a duty to build great things. Not just because it creates success for you, not just because it creates wealth for you, but because it provides unlimited opportunities for people to come and build their dreams within your organization. Because it solves real problems on the ground level. Because it makes life better for other Americans. I see that as an obligation. And the biggest obligation I see when I look at that flag, when it comes to being an entrepreneur, is, and really just being a citizen of this country, if I'm being completely honest, is this. When I look at that flag, I realize that lots and lots and lots and lots of people have died for this country. And the least that I could do to pay them back is to go out and set a fucking example for what it means to be great in this country. And I think that's the biggest obligation that all of us have. Every single one of you listening. Every single one of you listening right now that lives here in the United States of America, you have an obligation to build the literal best fucking life that you can. It's an obligation. It's a duty. It's a must do. Just like people serve in the military, just like people are supposed to serve when it comes to politics, which a lot more regular people are getting into. That's great. Okay. But when it comes to your daily life, when it comes to building your life out, when it comes to your family, when it comes to your career, when it comes to how you treat people, how you live and what you stand for, you have a duty to build that out the very best you can. Because that's what causes real change. Real change in this country will not happen until the individual changes and embraces the opportunity that our country affords every single person that comes here. And if it doesn't afford every single person that comes here the same opportunity, then we work to make that happen. Okay? That's something that we should all be committed to. But when you guys go out there and you point your finger at all these people who aren't doing shit, and you're fucking 100 pounds overweight, your business is half-assed, your career's half-assed, you're half-assing it at the fucking work, you're a shitty fucking family person, you're a shitty partner, you're a shitty parent, okay? And you point the finger at all these blue hair people and shit that you say you don't like, guess what, motherfucker? You ain't any better than them. You ain't any better, okay? Because our biggest problem in this country is not this person or these people or that people. It's this. It's that the people who actually believe in America, who actually believe in this country, who believe that this is a country that should be, could be, and will be great and inclusive to people from literally fucking everywhere, getting along for the common good. Those people who believe that idea, those people who believe in what I call real America, okay? You're leaving a lot on the motherfucking table. And that unrealized potential from that group of people is what's creating the fucking problem. All right? We have a big group of people who believe in all the things this country should stand for. Freedom, okay? Doing the right thing, equality of opportunity, hard work, sacrifice, reward, kindness for your neighbor, service to the country. We have all kinds of people who believe in that. But those people, that group, is leaving so much on the fucking table, mainly because you're waiting around for someone else to come around and fix it. And what we have here is a degradation of societal values that have regressed over time to where we have become complacent to being fucking average motherfuckers.
You don't get discipline from your parents, from your grandparents, from your older brothers and sisters. You don't get discipline from an external source. You have to get it from you. That's what self-discipline is. You get it from yourself. You get it from you. So there's people from every possible background from no parents to crazy parents to, drug addicted parents to super squared away parents and everywhere in between on that spectrum that are completely disciplined people. More disciplined than anyone I know. It doesn't come from your parents. You don't inherit it. And there's another piece here. It's called ownership, right? It's called ownership. And if you want to blame other people for the problem, and I say this all the time, if you don't take ownership of the problem's not going to get solved. So if you blame your parents for not having raised you in a disciplined environment, you're not going to solve that problem. You're looking at your parents saying, if you would have done a better job being more disciplined for me, I would be more disciplined now. So that means you can't do anything. The fact of the matter is it's wrong. You actually can do something. And it doesn't matter how your parents raised you and brought you up. You can have the discipline you need to decide to do it. So as long as you're blaming other people, I mean, if you blame me for not discussing it, you blame me for having zero idea what that experience is like, you blame your parents for not raising you this way, as long as you're blaming other people, as long as you're counting on other people to give you discipline, as long as you do that, you will not have it. So again, I'm sorry, I should make that more clearly, and I'm trying to make it more clearly now. And like my parents are good people. They had successful careers as educators in public schools. And my mom eventually went into school administration, and my dad taught in high school for 30 something years, and they were good, hardworking people. And, but I'll tell you, they were no extraordinary preachers of discipline. And I'll tell you, I never remember either one of them ever using the term or referring to discipline in any way. And actually both my parents worked. They both worked a lot. My dad was coaching sports and we're doing after school stuff. My mom, same thing. Like, we were on our own a bunch. My parents were gone in the morning. We got ourselves to school. When we got home in the afternoon, they weren't home. So it wasn't like they were setting up this rigid, disciplined manner for me, right? Yeah. And you can see this with families, many different families. There's families that have kids that the parents are very disciplined and the kids are wild and out of control. Sometimes they're problematically so, right? Kids that come from really good families, but they get addicted to drugs, lack of discipline. Kids that come from really good families, but they spin out of control and go in the wrong direction. And there's also the opposite, which is, hey, the parents weren't around, or the parents were abusive, or the parents were drug addicts, and all of a sudden the kid comes out of that and is squared away, is awesome. And we saw that all the time in the SEAL teams. And I've said that before on this program. It doesn't matter where your background is. It's what you decide to do.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you another thing. It's not even from the military. Like, the military requires discipline, obviously. But there's plenty of people in the military that don't have it, right? And many people lose their discipline when they leave the military because it's not being imposed on them anymore. So, I mean, just go look around. Being in the military does not make you a disciplined person. Being from a disciplined family does not make you a disciplined person. Being in a disciplined group does not make you a disciplined person. What makes you a disciplined person is choosing to be disciplined. So, yeah, and also as far as telling people to man up, which, when someone says, how do I get up early every day? I say, get up early every day. Yeah. How do I stop eating sugar? Stop eating sugar. If that's the definition of man up, but obviously it's not just men that need discipline in their life. I don't think I use that term, but what I do tell people is to get after it. That's what I tell people, to get after it. Yeah. I tell people to do the things that they know they're supposed to do. Right? There's things that you're supposed to do as a human being. Things that are going to improve your life. Do those things. There's things that are going to make you a worse person and make your life worse. Don't do those things. Don't do the things that are making you weaker. Start doing the things that are going to make you stronger and smarter and faster and healthier and going to make you a better human being. And I'll say the same thing to this guy. You want to be more disciplined? Get after it. That's it, man. Get up early, do some kind of workout, eat good foods, clean your room, make a list of things that you're supposed to do in your life, and then wake up in the morning and do those things that you put on the list. That's what discipline is. And no, it is not easy. But you're not going to get it from anyone else but you. And it's worth it, and it is the thing that is going to bring you freedom.